Hello, welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real, metaphysical, and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. This week, we're going to continue our talk on the Goetian spirits, or the Goetic spirits. And this week, we're going to be talking about the 13th spirit of the Goetia Beleth. Now, throughout this series, we have covered quite a few spirits. Now, Beleth is one of the kings, and there's not a lot written as far as his appearance goes. In fact, the only description of Beleth's appearance that is given in the Lesser Key of Solomon is that he comes riding a pale horse with a envoy of instruments before him. Not a lot to go on, really, is there? Now, interestingly enough, one of the things that I have heard from other magicians is this is another spirit that is very much gender fluid. It does tend to pop back and forth between male and female, but is always very pleasant and charismatic and appealing to the eye of the evoker. And that makes a lot of sense when we get into the things and areas that this spirit works in. All right? Now, as always, when we are talking about these spirits, we do go across a few of their correspondences, and people have seemed to like that. So we're going to continue with that format. Now, this spirit's rank, as we've already said, is king. The metal associated with this spirit is gold. The planet associated with this spirit would be the sun. The color associated with this spirit is yellow. And the element associated with this spirit is earth. Now, a few of you have commented that sometimes the metal and the colors tend to correspond with the rank, and you are correct. There is a lot of correspondences in the Goetia that goes by ranks, not so much the individual spirit. So you will notice that pattern quite a bit throughout the Goetia. And that's okay, because it does work all the same. In fact, if we look hard enough, you can probably find a correspondence to fit your needs no matter what. But we are just going with some of the most common ones, okay? All right. Now, this spirit is going to be a tricky one to cover here on the YouTube. And I think we're going to have to describe some of these a little bit better. Because this spirit does have a very good draw. There's a lot of people who want to work with this spirit because of the areas it works in. And what are those areas? Well, first and foremost, and probably the best area to work with this spirit in is he can help you find your soulmate. Yeah, if you work with this spirit, he can help you find your soulmate. That person who you will love, who will be your best friend, your love. Yeah, he can help you find that person to spend your life with. And that is a valuable thing. Sadly, most people aren't worried about soulmates when they come to this spirit. They're a bit more immediate gratification oriented. And that's where it gets complicated. But let's move along. So the next area that this spirit can help you in is to improve and intensify passion between lovers. Pretty simple there. It will actually increase, intensify the passion between two lovers. Not a big deal, obviously. It's always great to have that passion in your life. That is something I think all of us love to have in a relationship. And it is true. Sometimes you kind of drift off a little bit. Some people kind of hit the everyday norm and they feel the passion has dropped off. The spirit can easily help you rejuvenate that relationship and bring that passion back. This next one, this spirit can actually help increase and improve arousal and orgasms. Yeah, it really can. And this is one I know a lot of people who have used this. Both men and women tend to like to use it for this one. And I can understand. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. This is a perfectly legitimate reason for working with the spirit. The next one, this one's where we start getting into the gray areas and people debate. The next area this spirit has been known to work in is to encourage a person to be aroused sexually for you. Okay. Now, when we say encouraging arousal, now, this is not saying that it's going to cause this person to jump straight into bed with you. It's not going to guarantee that at all. All this means is that they physically will be aroused around you. Okay? They're still in control of their facilities. They're still in control of what they're going to do and they're going to choose. Now, if this is an individual you are looking at as a partner, as a date, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, yeah, this could stack the deck in your favor very much, but they still have that freedom of choice, and that is important. So, not a bad one here, in my opinion, though it can easily have an ethical line that could be crossed depending on how you used it and how you looked at it. So, consider that before you just immediately start trying to make everyone want you. You know what I mean? All right, the next one, to increase the desire for sex in a partner. That is pretty straightforward. All right? You have a partner. You have a significant other. And all this is going to do is it's going to increase the sex drive, increase the desire for sex in a partner so that you can improve your sex life. Now, you'll notice all it's doing is increasing that desire for what theoretically should already be happening in your relationship. However, be careful with what you increase, because first, I've seen this go a little haywire on both sides, for both men and women. And I've seen it actually increase to the point they can't keep up. It becomes a problem. It becomes a hassle. So be careful with that. You may get more than you asked for. And that has happened. Both men and women have told me this has happened to them. Secondly, it increases the desire for sex. Not necessarily with you. Both men and women have reported that after doing this, yes, the desire increased, but not with them. So they were already in that kind of area of, is this relationship over? Is things gone the way? Is it just dead? Is cheating an option? All those little things. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Sometimes increasing desires can backfire on you if you're not careful. So before you utilize this, make sure it's a solid relationship and you two are in a communication with one another and that it is a happy long-term relationship before you go ahead and utilize that. Otherwise, it might backfire. Communication is key, people. Communication is key to any good relationship, period. And the last one. To shift sexual attraction into calmer, more genuine love. Now this one a lot of people don't seem to understand. Let me try and break this down for you as easily as I can. There are a lot of people who are with one another for lusty intentions only. We are attracted to somebody based on their looks. We haven't taken the time to find out what's in their head. We haven't taken the time to get to know them. We haven't taken the time to genuinely be able to sit down and just talk with them. We've all known this couple. We've all seen this couple. They're all up in each other's business and all over each other 24/7, but they never have a conversation. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. There are people who enjoy just hooking up and having one-night stands, and that's fine and dandy if that's for you. What this does, however, is it takes that raw, primal, carnal, lustful energy and just brings it down to a genuine love where the two begin to actually genuinely connect, genuinely speak to each other, and genuinely get to know each other and develop a true and genuine relationship. Guys, ladies, this is magnificent if you are actually wanting to take what may be a casual thing to a serious level. This is a great way to do it and actually start to build something real. Or to at least calm it down enough so you can start having those conversations to find out if he's a keeper or she's a keeper. Works both ways here. And find out if this is a long-term relationship material, if that's what you're looking for. And this is a great way to do that. Okay? All right, so those are the areas that this spirit can help you in. Now, of course, to work with the spirit, you're probably going to want a sigil, aren't you? All right, so let's go ahead and get that up on the screen here. That is Beleth's sigil. And, of course, we can't have one of these videos if we don't include the and my southern attempt to pronounce it. Y'all know I don't personally use them in all my works, but I do like to use them, test them out, and get a feel for them. All right, so here we go. I'll put it up on the screen so you don't have to trust my southern twangy pronunciation. All right, I got it here written down so I can actually remember, because this is one I don't use a lot. Larach Tasa Vifa Halak Beleth. Larach Tasa Vifa Welak Beleth. Larach Tasa Vifa Welak Beleth. Okay? Now, with this one, I want to point out on Welak. I have found that so many times spelled, as it showed up here on the screen, W-E-H-L-C. I have also come across it less commonly spelled W-E-H-L-E, which would change the pronunciation a little bit to what I think would be more like just a well. And that just doesn't sound right to me, but if you wanted to try and use that particular spelling and pronunciation, you could. This one's the one I've used. I've got great results. I have met one magician who does use the well pronunciation, and a few times, and he's found he gets good results with it, though he also agrees that he feels the Welak tends to work a little better, so there you go. All right, and now we're going to close, of course, with my personal experience working with this individual spirit. Now, anytime I've worked with this spirit does tend to come mostly male, though it has shown up female quite a bit. Can't lie about that. Always attractive. And I've noticed that the attractiveness kind of shifts back and forth a little bit, focusing on different traits that I find appealing in an individual. And that seems to be pretty common from the practitioners I've spoken with, because of how this one does focus on attraction and lust and desire and those things. The spirit tends to come up and focus and pull from what you find attractive and desirable. In many cases, actually, if you work with the spirit while having a very specific person in mind, it will drastically resemble that person too. That's pretty common. Not a guarantee, but it is pretty common. So be prepared for that, because if you are trying to get that date with that special someone and you start to reach out to the spirit, don't be surprised if the spirit shows up looking exactly like, or to some degree like, the person you're actually pursuing in hopes of that relationship with, okay? Now the pale horse. That was always an interesting one to me, and I'll admit, I think that was one of the things that drew me to want to work with the spirit first. Revelations, the apocalypse, those kinds of stories were always fascinating to me. But, yeah, you will see a lot of imagery dealing with horses and the like that deal, and more specifically the white or pale horses. Which I found very, very interesting. Now, I love horses in general, so it's just one of those things. I have had people tell me that the horse deals with the increase in virility, the passions, you know. You also see horses a lot in romance novels and stuff. They think that perhaps may play a role. I don't know, personally speaking, but there is definitely that pale horse symbolism that's surrounding this entity. And this entity does tend to like to come ride up on a horse occasionally, or have a horse with them. So don't be surprised if you do see a horse when working with this spirit. Also, horses are a great imagery to utilize if you're working with this spirit, though I do recommend you stick to white and pale colored horses when so doing. Now, I don't really spend too much time working with this spirit because the areas it works in, I don't really have that much of an issue. I lucked out and met my soulmate early in life. And we are two individuals that somehow, some way, the passion has stayed in our relationship. There was one point where things were kind of dipping off, and it was largely due to work. Both of us were just flipping exhausted. And in that case, knowing that a special occasion was coming up, I did work with the spirit to kind of ramp us both up there so that we could overcome the exhaustion, enjoy these special events and all that thing. A little too much TMI there. Maybe I'm keeping it very vague for reasons, but that was useful at that time during that exhaustion period, because we were both just we were working way too much. So that's really about the only experience I have with this one. Though I have worked with him a time or two for clients when I was working with clients more, and I have to say this spirit does a really good job. It does. It does a really good job of helping in those rekindle the flames in a relationship, and of course help you to find that relationship and soulmate. And honestly, I think that finding the soulmate and finding that special someone is hands down the best power of this particular entity. But if you are in a relationship, you have found that someone, and you just want to stoke the fires and rekindle it, also a great spirit to work with. All right. I hope you've enjoyed this video and this quick summary on the 13th spirit of the Goetia. I am Drake. This has been Working Dragon Mystic, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.